Lore Friendly episode 103. How are you doing, Alice?
Whew. So, background for this week's podcast is that we were more than ready to do our usual shit-talking podcast where we're going to talk about Gamescom. Well, we are going to talk about Gamescom. Some video game trailers, some really fun things. And then, literally about half an hour before we were due to record,
I'll just go ahead and say it. Jeremy Soule might be cancelled.
Yeah. So, first things first, it's difficult to approach this topic because cancel culture is fucking stupid at times. But I'm not one to immediately dismiss claims, especially when it's something as ruinous as what has been said.
Yeah. No, I mean, let's assume for a second, because, we've just read this. I don't really know too much about the...
There's been no reaction.
Yeah, we don't know the particulars, and we weren't there when this did or didn't happen.
Yeah.
Generally, I tend to believe people in these situations. Statistically, it turns out the survivors are telling the truth, and they do face a lot of backlash for coming out. So it's very brave what Natalie did here. But as fans of the Elder Scrolls series and of Jeremy Soule's work, how do we approach something like this? I know there's been other artists in the past who've been canceled more or less, and it's been sort of easy to do so because they're not sort of a regular part of our lives, the way Skyrim is, the way Elder Scrolls is. R. Kelly, Kevin Spacey, I could easily not listen to or not watch their work and just go on without my day. This is different. This feels different.
This is what we make our online presence based off of.
Yeah, and his music is part of the fabric of Elder Scrolls games. It's always there. It's omnipresent. So to find out he's just this horrible, or rather that he could be this horrible piece of scum rapist, it's hard to really wrap my head around it. I guess just play Skyrim with the sound off. I don't know.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's I went through a similar thing when the accusations came out about Kevin Spacey because I was a really huge fan of House of Cards. Huge fan. And to the point where I actually wrote an essay about House of Cards and its connection to Shakespeare and connections between Shakespeare practitioners and staging and shit like that. And I think it was a month or so after the marking had come out for that it came out that Kevin Spacey was a piece of shit human being. And I felt horrific because this is a fella that I've dedicated a good few years of my life to watching and enjoying his content. Now, I've dedicated some of my academic career to analysing, and then it comes out that I had a bit of a crisis, honestly.
Especially because who you are is often shaped by the artists that influence you, right? I don't know if Kevin Spacey influenced you as far as being an actor and certain things like that, but I know there's writers or whatever who have probably been accused of just heinous crimes, and then
Roman Polanski.
Yeah, he's influenced a lot of filmmakers and artists and
artists and practitioners.
Yeah, and so it's kind of hard to divorce that part of you that has honed your craft based on their influence from the person itself, because the person itself is a piece of shit. So it's a bit weird. Now, for us, we haven't really... we're not composers or musicians other than, when we do our little karaoke on the podcast.
No, we're not.
But Skyrim is a game that we play and we're heavily influenced by. And even future games like Elder Scrolls games, or what we might talk about later on is Skywind and stuff. Those all have his imprint on them musically. So it's just... Yeah. It's the atmosphere of the game.
It's keeping in his style.
It's when you think of Zelda or Super Mario Bros., you think of their iconic themes. They have... The music is such an iconic part of those games. It's woven into the fabric of what they are. And so, yeah, I don't know how I will feel. I haven't played Skyrim since I learned this, but I don't know how I feel if I play the game, if I play Morrowind, if I play Skywind, Skyblivion, if I play those games and I hear that music, and then the first thought is is the scumbag who made them. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that. Maybe another composer needs to kind of make a mod for it. Make a mod and just replace all the music with your own compositions. Do it. Yeah. Save us. Allow us to cancel this man.
I think a lot of the things when it comes to cancel culture and things like that is, first things first, you need to look and see if they are directly profiting off the works. Like R. Kelly, when his stuff comes out, it was he was directly profiting off of it because he has royalties in his own music. So not purchasing or streaming his music has a direct effect on him. Whereas, yes, Jeremy Soule might get royalties from the sales of the contract, but does he get royalties from sales of the video game?
Probably not. I mean, I don't know. It's just that when you're going to hear the music, you're going to think about him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, well, maybe not. Maybe it's so far divorced from who he is. I mean, there's a lot of video game soundtracks where I don't know who the composer is. It's just this one happens to be one where we know the name and we recognize the name, I guess. I mean, he's that much of an iconic figure, right? I mean, there's pretty much every other game that I play, I don't know who the composer is. The music is for the game. It's made by the game, and it's just that. So
yeah, the name is irrelevant. It's like with Akira Yamaoka.
Okay.
So he was one of the key lead sound directors for Silent Hill, and his soundtrack is again instantly iconic. And when he left the Silent Hill series, it was a big old blow on Silent Hill, but when he left, the game series went downhill because so much of the atmospheres of his game was from his soundtrack.
So he was basically vital to just the essence of the game being what it was, right? So if it came out that he was like a heroin dealer or something, you would be very sad. It would irreparably harm the franchise going forward. What do you think? I mean, Bethesda would have likely had him contracted for Elder Scrolls 6. I don't know about Starfield, but I mean, what do you think Bethesda does now? I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of other talented composers who aren't.
I think the first thing for them is investigate and see if the accusations turn into something else.
Well, generally, what happens if there's like a predatory person is that multiple people will come forward. Right?
Yeah.
So if in the coming months, like scores of women come forward and talk about like, okay, this happened to me too, then it's likely it'd make the decision pretty easy that there's no way you have them on. There's no way.
But it's like how Donald Trump has had upwards of 20 people accusing him of rape or sexual
So what you're saying is Jeremy Soule should run for president.
Whew.
Yeah, I'm almost thinking you just find another composer because the world is full of talented people who don't have certain issues.
But Jeremy Soule is so entwined to the fabric.
Yeah, and the thing is, with Elder Scrolls, all the compositions are similar, right? They're variations of the same.
They've got leitmotifs.
Yes, what you said. So even then, it's just like, can you just depart and go with something completely new? I don't know. It's a tricky situation.
I think the main thing is going to be the proving of the viability of these claims and seeing if other people do come forward and seeing if something happens. Because I don't want to believe that this woman is lying.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's as a woman and as a feminist, if she were to lie about this, then that delegitimizes actual victims. It does more harm than good, and that makes me really angry. And so I hate to say it, but best case scenario is that he did do this and he is being called out on it, and hopefully this will lead to a culture shift within the gaming industry, because the gaming industry is not highly populated by women.
No.
In the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of scandals recently with just like the Riot Games scandal, how the culture of like misogyny that was going on there, as well as there's also been other people who've come forward with claims against other developers as a result of this particular accusation against Jeremy Soule. So it's good people are trying to change the culture. It's just disappointing that it's gone on for this long. And in general, we've just got to be better. I mean, as men, myself included.
At the end of the day, I hope that if there is viability to these accusations, that Jeremy Soule is made an example of.
Yeah, and it has happened that way to people like Harvey Weinstein, Louis C.K.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to see an innocent man have his reputation ruined. But if there's viability to these claims, and if they are properly followed up on, then I don't just want to have him, like, taken away from his cushy job at Bethesda. I want to see him met with the full force of the law, and that's how any rapist or scum of the earth scumbag, no matter what their crime is, that's how anyone should be faced.
Exactly. And, we don't know if he is innocent and not guilty of these crimes, then he shouldn't have to have that stain on him, and that goes without saying. But it's just statistically, it's hard to comment on this stuff because we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, and if it turns out that his accuser is lying, then I also want her to meet the full face of the law. Because it's something that does have to be acknowledged, that making claims like this can completely ruin somebody's reputation, and it also ruins chances for genuine victims to get heard and get the respect and the help that they need. It's damaging all round.
I mean, it is rare for someone to come forward because of the backlash that they get, the trauma that they're going to suffer.
Yeah.
Regardless of truth or not, they're going to get... I mean, it's rare for a woman to come forward. It's actually pretty brave.
Yeah.
But there are instances, to be fair, where like men have been falsely accused. There's like a famous case with I think a football player whose like career was ruined, and like there was also like the Duke lacrosse case that turned out to be a false accusation. So there are instances like that. So Jeremy Soule, maybe he's innocent. We don't know any of this. The whole discussion is basically if he is guilty, like how do we sort of, as fans and people who love Elder Scrolls, as people who play the games and where his music is a part of that, it's like how do we sort of divorce ourselves from that and still enjoy the games? It's a complicated subject.
Get a modded soundtrack, I believe, is our consensus.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
Problem solved, sorted.
I like that idea.
Speaking of mods, moving on to lighter topics. Skywind was at Gamescom this year.
There was not much news at Gamescom this year, was there?
Does Gamescom have news, or is it just a vehicle for Hideo Kojima to peddle his games? It's just
probably just a vehicle for Hideo Kojima to peddle his games.
Should just be called KojimaCon.
Yeah.
Why even have the pretense?
Yeah, this was actually really, really big news, like really impressive news, because Skywind was featured at an international gaming convention, which do not quote me on this, I don't know if this is a first of its kind, but it feels like it's a first of its kind, you know?
Yeah, I think Enderal or one of those Total Conversion mods may have gotten some pub at an award show or anything before, but I'm not sure if they've ever had a panel or anything like this.
Yeah.
So it's a very big deal, and the game looks great. It looks like Morrowind. The atmosphere feels like you're in this alien planet, which is kind of what the vibe is in Morrowind.
So it's just so unlike. It's just so unlike anything that you've seen before.
Yeah. And they got spears to work.
They got spears to work. I love phallic objects being thrust at me.
These ones kind of are a little bit more pointier than the usual kind. They're not designed for fun. They're designed more for pain.
And cruelty.
Yes. But you're still okay with it, as long as it's all lore friendly, right?
Oh yeah. It's gonna be fun to get spears back. I can remember one of the Maik lines in Oblivion was about people complaining about the lack of spears.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun seeing spears within the Skyrim. Actually, no, we've already had spears in the Skyrim engine, haven't we?
Have we?
The Reekling spears.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Can you use those? I have not played Dragonborn, so I have no idea.
I think you can, yeah. It's been a while.
Oh, so there you go. Maybe they just use those spears. Here I was, like, thrusting praise on them for making their own animations, but they could have just used the Skyrim ones.
I'm not sure. It has been a long, long time since I've watched it.
But yeah, it looks good. I'm curious to see how they sort of finessed the dialogue and all the other things that don't really go with Skyrim's like gameplay and engine. Like in Morrowind, they'd have like 20 lines of dialogue that were all shared by like a bunch of NPCs, and then you'd click on a link. It was all text, so you'd click on a link and take you somewhere else, and like some of it was like walls of text. Cute joke about my mods. But yeah, there are elements that may not translate over to the voice acted way that we do things, but yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm sure they've taken that all into account and sort of kind of finessed things and like change stuff where necessary just to make it fit and make it a little bit more seamless. But yeah, I'm actually for just getting rid of some of the like generic shared lines, because it is kind of weird if like 20 NPCs all say the same thing about Solstheim. Maybe just implement it into the hello system that Skyrim uses. And once it fires once, it's pretty much gone forever. So it doesn't clutter up the dialogue menu when you do click on an NPC. Not telling them how to do their job, but it's just, yeah, it seems kind of weird that if they do it like a one-to-one translation, like it's going to be like a little bit weird that people are repeating the same thing. So
yeah. No, I'm very excited to see what comes of it. People are going to start thinking that we've been paid by the sky folk.
I haven't. I don't know about you. Maybe you're just thrusting this stuff on me because
I haven't.
Paid under the table and keeping the riches for yourself.
This is just 2 mods that we've covered with Sky as the prefix.
Oh, yeah. And a correction.
In 2 weeks.
From last week. They are going to use the vanilla voices for Sky Oblivion. It's just...
But with additional voices.
Yeah, with additional voices. So, are there new lines? New characters?
I'm not at liberty to say.
So, have they asked you to voice the famous line from Oblivion?
No, they haven't.
It's you, the hero of Kvatch. There, that's my acting.
It's you, the hero of Kvatch.
There you go. You haven't said that. You haven't been asked to record that line.
I have not been asked to record that line. It's there if they want it. I still think the best one is going to be, I'm the only alchemist in Skingrad. Not much business here, but I can't go back to Morrowind. It's just like anywhere else in the Empire. By the way, do you happen to know what the fine is here in Cyrodiil for necrophilia?
Oh, yeah.
Just asking.
I knew that was coming, but it was still great.
Some of the best. It's some of the most iconic lines within Oblivion.
Yeah, but apparently they're not going to have you voice that stuff. That's interesting because I know that other projects, that's been kind of a sticking point where the voiced dialogue was something that they figured that they could not use for copyright reasons.
Yeah.
Because it is from a different game. At the same time, though, I never understood that because you're also using all the text.
All the assets and text.
Yeah.
And...
I mean, well, you're replacing all the assets, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
But you're still using all the text. The text is copyrighted.
Plot.
Yes, all that stuff. All that stuff is copyrighted. So I never understood that logic, but they did say that, I mean, that has been some of the reasons that some of the other projects have been sort of taking longer than they normally expected, like or normally anticipated. Like I know the Capital Wasteland project, the Fallout 3 replacement mod, or the Fallout 4 version, they ran into a little hiccup because of that, because of the voice acting, and then they decided, okay, we're just going to replace it all, and maybe that'll be okay. So I don't know. I'm not sure why Skywind or Sky Oblivion is okay using the voice acting, but great. I mean, if it makes the mod come out earlier, then all the more reason.
Yeah.
But if not, if they do run into a hiccup, then they have you.
Yes.
Just gonna voice all 50,000 lines.
Yeah. You say that like it would be difficult for me.
No, it's not. You're gonna be Sheogorath.
You know that I'm a raging talent. Ooh, I'd like to do Lucian Lachance.
Emphasis on the raging. Well, see, you can't be raging if you're Lucian. You have to be kind of dark and brooding and cold.
No! You fool! What have you done?
That damn hero of Kvatch, always up to no good. But yeah, Skywind looks great. Hopefully that also will be coming out soon, TM. Even sooner, possibly.
Than Sky Oblivion?
Well, I don't know if it'll be sooner than Sky Oblivion because it has to replace all the voice acting, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Sooner than TS6.
Yeah.
Well, especially now that they have to get a whole new composer. But
yeah.
Enough about that.
Heavy topic. It's making me sweat a lot.
Yeah.
No, maybe it's the fact that we're in the middle of a fucking heat wave again.
Yeah. Me too. It is fucking... Yeah, it's insane.
It's sweltering. I hate global warming.
But luckily, Bill Gates is going to block out the sun for you, so there you go.
Speaking of global warming, it came out this week that Bill Gates has decided that the best way to get rid of climate change is to block out the fucking sun.
Now, I didn't read into logistics for that, but is he going to use an Elder Scroll like our Lord Harkon did, or has he found another solution?
Dip some arrows in Falmer blood.
Use Ariel's bow. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what he's planning on doing.
Exactly. Now we just gotta find the bow for him. We gotta, find the Elder Scroll. You gotta do all this stuff. It's get on it, and then once we do, planet saved.
I mean, the headline sounds very dramatic, but the research has been backed by researchers at Harvard University.
Yeah, they're the ones who are probably doing the whole
Yeah.
science stuff. Bill Gates is just providing the cash. I'm sure.
I mean, it's a noble fucking goal because...
My point is that Bill Gates isn't in his
know-
basement netching those arrows. Like, he isn't...
No.
Or not netching, fletching those arrows.
Yeah.
Netching is netch
Netching
leather.
is something completely different.
Is it? It sounds like a kink.
Ooh.
Involving spears. Pointy spears, That's what it is. And netch leather. Did you know that netch leather has, like, electric shock capabilities? Like, it has, like, the tentacles, like, of the netch
Wait, what?
in the leather? Because, okay, so netches are like these giant jellyfishes in Morrowind, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, if you make leather from their tentacles, I guess they have, like, some of the electric shock properties are still in there, so it kind of warms you a bit. Like, you put on the netch leather and bzz, you get zapped. Bzz. That's the sound it makes when you get zapped. Bzz.
Bzz. Bzz.
So it could be a kink. It sounds like some kind of S&M thing. Because you know how S&M is, like, really big on leather. So,
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. There's an extra shock aspect to it. It's just netch leather. Kinkiest stuff. Netching.
I mean, that sounds
Yeah,
fantastic.
Bill Gates in full netch leather, netching his way to, an orgasm. There's a visual.
Netching to Electric Boogaloo.
And he can do that. He's within his rights to do that because all he needs to do is fund the cash so these Harvard scientists can, figure out how to cool our planet because it's very fucking hot.
It is, and I hate it. It's making me... Oh, I really can't handle it. If blocking out the sun stops global warming, power fucking to you because I hate it so much.
And plus, in England, you're used to not having the sun, so it's all good. It's normal. It's just another Tuesday.
Oh god, it's Tuesday, isn't it? I thought it was like Friday. I wished it was
Yes,
Friday.
it's Tuesday. It's Taco Tuesday. Should have a taco.
I have never had a proper taco.
That's true. All the more reason to move down here. Well, if you can stand the heat, which clearly,
No.
clearly you have it.
No,
But
I
we have air
can't.
conditioning. We have air conditioning in some places. Some places.
I have a fan.
A fan is almost like central air. Almost.
I bought a fan. I bought a fan because I can't deal with this heat
Putting
wave.
it to good use.
But because I have my fan on at night, I'm using energy, which means I'm contributing to global fucking warming.
No, you're the reason. It's all you.
It's more my
So
fault. I'm too
So we
selfish.
can A, block out the sun, or B, Alice can turn off her fucking fan.
Kill Alice.
No, let's not go that far. Please do not kill Alice. I said B, turn off your fucking fan.
Well, it's off now. Can you hear it in the background?
No, leave it on. I'm sure my computer and the Amazon rainforest getting burned down is probably way more. It contributes way more to global warming. That and our addiction to fossil fuels and all those coal factories. That contributes way more to global warming than your fan, I'm sure. Unless it's a really big fan. It could be very powerful. I might be underestimating or underselling how big your fan is. It might be fucking huge.
I would love a huge fan. Just blow me.
It's probably causing those hurricanes that Trump wants to nuke.
Honestly, this week has been full of weird and confusing news. And you know what? We could have focused more on it if some wank shit didn't come out.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to refer to the controversy as. Wank shit.
I was thinking loss of my soul. Damned souls.
Loss of
Demon's souls. Dark souls. How about that?
I like that one.
Dark souls.
I like it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Dark souls. That's what we're gonna call it from now on. We're gonna talk about Dark Souls, and then people are gonna think we're talking about a game, but no, we're just talking about something very
It's
depressing.
like, ha, bait and switch,
Yeah.
bitch.
Now you're depressed.
Ha ha. All of your teenagehood is a lie.
Oh, I've made myself sad. In any case. But yeah, speaking of nukes, the Trump idea is fucking ridiculous, but what do you expect? It's just par for the course for him.
Yeah.
Did you hear that also that Elon Musk wants to nuke Mars to terraform it? Like, nuke the ice caps.
Can Elon Musk just, like, jet himself off into space?
Yeah, it like a scientist like debunked it shortly thereafter, or maybe even before he even mentioned it. But supposedly, you nuke the polar ice caps of Mars, and it releases CO2, creates a greenhouse effect. But like they did the math, and it only contains like 1.2% of the carbon dioxide necessary to, so it won't work. But he wants to do it anyway. Interesting.
I'm not gonna lie, I just don't like him.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good way to create publicity, I guess, is just to mention crazy ideas.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about him, aren't we?
As well as nuking
It worked.
hurricanes. Yeah, it's just these people have figured it out, I guess. The President of the United States, one of the CEOs of a
Oh, God, don't give Elon Musk any ideas. Don't you dare. Do not give him any ideas.
Yes. So it's a crazy world we live in. It's kind of backwards.
It's a very, very bad world.
What else are we going to talk about? I don't really have a segue here.
That's about it. I think, was it? Yeah.
Oh, I was going to try and convince you to get a Switch.
Oh, yeah, go on.
So the Switch Lite came out, and originally I was kind of bummed because, like, oh, I should have gotten the new one, but it doesn't hook up to a TV, so yeah. The regular Switch is better. But I got this game, Fire Emblem, Three Houses, and before I get into this, I'm just going to add this in here. I didn't realize that it has its own sexual assault controversy regarding one of the English voice actors for the game. So that is also incredibly unfortunate. So yeah, the world sucks. And on that note, back to our previously recorded podcast. And so let me try and sell you on the premise of why you should pay $300 for a Switch and then $80 for the game's Game of the Year version. Plus like all this other converter crap and whatever charger. Anyways, so you basically pick from 3 houses to join. So it's got this Harry Potter aspect where you can pick from the Black Eagle house, which is like it's kind of Targaryen-esque. It has a princess with moon silver hair and purple eyes. So it's
Targaryen.
Yes, and she's classic. It's a classic empire, the Adrestrian Empire. It's the ancient sort of empire. They have a black eagle as their crest, as their sigil. That's house number 1. House number 2 is the Blue Lions, which is like a faction of knights, and they're very chivalrous and they're very knightly. They're the Lions, so I guess I don't know if it's a 1-to-1 to Lannister, but they're the Lions. And then the third house is the Golden Stag, or the Golden Deer. I'm sorry. They're like the stags. They're like Hufflepuff in a way too. They're kind of like, they don't really go to class. They're kind of like whimsical. So you get to pick from one of these 3 houses, and you're their teacher. You're a professor, and so you basically train your students. And there's also an overruling faction, which is the church, which is like the sect. And the game lets you choose between 4 different routes. You can side with the church, or you can side one of the 3 houses to try and gain control of the land. So there's like this whole Game of Thrones aspect where you're trying to unite the country under one banner. So there's the school aspect, there's the conquering aspect, there's also the choosing the factions, and there's also like a lot of drama because you have to fight against your friends because you went to school with all these people, right? And the game takes place over the course of like 10 years or so, like after, like, you know, everyone graduates or whatnot, and it's like you have to face your friends on the battlefield that you sort of bonded with in school. And so it's a fun game, I think.
Dramatic.
It's worth getting a Switch for, and there's lots of twists, but and it has like 4 different play routes that you can go, like playthroughs you can do for whatever faction. But what house appeals to you?
It sounds something that's right up my alley.
It's fun. Plus, there's a lot of just activities you could do while you're at the school. It has a calendar gameplay type aspect. So, like, each day you have to choose something to do. You can have lunch with certain people. You can train by yourself. You can enter tournaments and get stronger. Or you could go to choir and sing because, of course, you're a natural at that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am.
And you can basically sort of, it gives you a lot of choice, and it gives you a lot of like different paths that you can go through. So and you can customize your character to be whatever you want, like a mage, a knight, or whatever. There's no character creator, but you can choose your gender, which is very good.
Oh,
You can
I mean, that's something. So I can't change my hair colour then?
no, you cannot. I mean, there's like not to get into spoilers, but yeah.
But I want to change my hair colour.
You may be able to, but not by choice.
Is it by turning evil?
Not necessarily. Something happens, but there are also.
Shit, now I want to know!
But there's also like a magical aspect to it. So each family, they've descended from a line of like 10 elites or like 10 like godlike figures or whatever. Like there's like all these different like houses, like minor houses under the main empire house, right? And a lot of
Yeah.
them are like, they pass on these crests. They're called crests. They're like these magical like items that are bonded with your body. So the ones that have crests like gain certain powers and stuff, and the whole royalty system, the whole like government system is currently like run by people who have crests. Like if you don't have one, you're kind of looked at as like a commoner or something. And so there's factions that
Yeah.
are trying to like uproot that system, and then there's factions that are trying to kind of reinforce it. And then so there's a lot of like politics and stuff too. So it's a very like deep lore game. I think it's fun.
Yeah. I love a good bit of deep lore. You know I
And
do.
they even have a library where you can read up on all that stuff.
A library?
In the monastery, like where the most of the game is like set. There's the library, and there's like tons of books that you can read up on the lore and the history, and it helps.
Oh,
It's a good game. I would thoroughly enjoy
Yes.
it. Fire Emblem Three Houses. Yeah, I'm really enjoying my Switch. It was worth the $300 plus the $100 I paid
Yeah.
for accessories.
really? That's a good sell.
Yeah.
That's a very positive sell that you've got there.
Plus, I like these kind of games. I like these. It fits right in my wheelhouse of just having the fantasy aspect, the politics aspect, the lore, and then the whole like the calendar aspect. I love games that have these calendars and lets you like choose how you want to spend your day and stuff, and who
Yeah.
you want to bond with. And it also has like the bonding mechanic. So
Oh, it sounds really fun. Does it come out on PC?
it's not out on PC yet, but it may be. Who knows? It's on Switch right now. So
It's never going to come out on PC, is it? It's going to be a exclusive.
there's been Switch exclusives that have. I mean, that's Switch exclusives that have come out on PC. Octopath Traveler is a game I want to play that is like an anime style game. There's some like JRPGs and Dragon Quest also came out on PC. So there's like a lot of Japanese developers that are moving to PC like after being exclusives. So
Yeah.
it might happen. Yeah.
Never.
I don't know if
Never.
I don't know
say
how the
never.
voice acting is though, because I played it with like the Japanese voices with subtitles on. It feels weird to play an anime type game with English voices, but I don't know, maybe that's just me.
Yeah. You're one of those sub versus dub
Yeah.
people, aren't you?
Well, I don't take a side on that because it's different for me because I sort of understand the language, so I don't know where
Yeah.
to fall as a person who like it would just be gibberish. Like if it's just gibberish and you're just reading, I don't know if that would be good.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, oh, I can understand it, and then if I'm confused on something, I'll look down and read the subtitles. So it's
Yeah.
I definitely fall on the
It's a different watching experience, isn't it?
So I definitely fall on that side than the dub. But in the past, it's because the dubs have been terrible. I think in recent years they've gotten better voice actors. So
I think the best anime dub that I've ever seen has been Hellsing Ultimate. It's great,
but have you tried it?
but I don't watch that much anime.
Yeah. You need to. You need it in your life. I'm gonna get you on that train.
I don't have enough time.
Yeah, time is short. It's not enough bank holidays, I guess.
Not enough bank holidays to do what I please.
Is there anything that you've noticed or any games or mods that you want to sell me on?
Not recently, no, but see what I can come up with next week.
Did you see that? We forgot to talk about Star Wars. I guess we could talk about that another time.
I haven't seen the new Star Wars yet.
The new trailer, you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't seen
There
it.
is a dark C-3PO briefly flashed on the screen. It's
Yes!
He looks very evil. I'm very looking forward to that. So,
Yes! Feed me the evil children.
and Rey also has a flip phone lightsaber, so
Oh, classic.
she just
That's
flips
what I
it.
like
Just
to
flips
see.
it. It It's really satisfying to watch it like just flip and go straight because it has a hinge. It's like
Yeah.
nunchucks, which is anyways.
Sounds
Yes.
amazing.
They're just running out of ideas, I'm sure, for lightsabers. Eventually, we're just gonna see like a trident lightsaber or who knows, a gun with fucking lightsaber bullets.
Ooh, yeah.
But then that would just be a regular laser gun, huh?
Yeah, but if it's wielded by a Jedi, then it's so
that's
much
true.
more badass.
That's true. They might actually hit something instead of miss all the time like the stormtroopers do. But yeah, that is it for this episode of Lore Friendly.
How do we bulk these episodes out? I don't know what we do. We just have a nice, friendly chat,
Yeah.
don't we? About sunshine and
Yeah.
rainbows. Join us next week when we talk about less upsetting topics.
Yes, hopefully less upsetting. It's not a very high bar to pass, though.
No.
Yeah, so that's it. Tune in next week.
Goodbye.
Yeah, it's rare that you get a day off on a bank holiday, because I remember last time you told me you didn't.
Yeah, I booked it off especially.
Because technically you don't work at a bank, and the name would imply that only people who work at banks get holidays, but
Yeah,
it's not the case. It's a lot of people.
it's not the case. It's basically anyone who doesn't work in heritage. Or if you work in a different industry, then you can still get decent pay. I think you get like pay and a half.
I like how there's no facade. You just basically, instead of calling it like a national holiday, you just call it a bank holiday.
Everybody knows that everyone's making bank.
Yes, that's why they named it that. Because everybody's making bank, and they
Yes,
wanted to
exactly.
stop. Yes.
Stop making all that bank.
Stop working. You can take the day off. Actually, you're still gonna get paid though, so it's great, right? With most jobs.
Yeah. Or in most jobs, you at least get
Yes.
pay and a half if you're working on a bank holiday, which makes it worth it.
I mean, you could take you could
As it
you could take a
stands,
sick day another
don't.
day, right? You could take a day off another day. Just work that day. I mean,
Yeah.
what's the bank holiday isn't anything special unless there's some kind of event that's being planned or something that requires your presence.
I mean, any event that's going off requires my presence.
That's true. It's not an event without you.
No, it's not. You're completely right.
It's just a gathering.
Yeah. The party don't start till I walk in. Don't stop, make it rock. DJ blow my
Is
speakers up.
that how it goes?
Tonight, I'ma fight till we see the sunlight.
Yes, your burgeoning rap career is just taking off.
Sorry, I've got a Zoom copyright strike now. Sorry, that's my fault.
You've turned this
It's my fault,
podcast
sorry.
into an event. It was just a gathering of two people, but now it's an event. It's all thanks to your
It's a full-blown event.
thanks to your rhyming skills, your lyrical wit.
You do realise that I just literally quoted TikTok by Kesha. Did you realise it?
Yes. No, I assumed that you were going off the top of the dome.
No, I stole that. I stole that.
Freestyling, I believe, is what they call it.
Sorry, I had a clothing website shop open in
No,
another tab.
that's fine. I assume
And,
that you are
It had a
opening about 10 or 11 tabs every time we talk.
oh yeah, but it was just it just had a new tab on it today because I visit this website very frequently. It's called Boohoo, and it had a tab called Sexy and Seductive Styles, and I thought, oh, it's going to be some low cut tops, things like that. That sounds like my sort of thing. No, it's full blown sexy underwear
Oh, okay.
with nipples.
Whoa. Yeah, that's turning it up to 11. We want it to be something like 5 or 6, right? Or 7 or something.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this. Can I just say I was not expecting this level of
Does there need to
raunchiness.
be another word instead of just sexy? I guess raunchy would be what you...
I prefer raunchy. I think raunchy sounds more fun than sexy.
Yeah, sexy seems kind of mild. Like, I assumed that you were going to say the opposite, that they were going to be like showing no skin. It was going to be like, you know, burqa. Because, you know, like the burqa covers like the whole thing. Yeah. Anyways. But yeah, it's that's not something you would normally wear. Is this like a normal clothing size? Is this something you find at the Gap?
I mean, can you find sexy lingerie at the Gap? I've never been to the Gap.
Probably not.